Good day. I'm Deirdre Assure-Wertheim, and I'm going to be sharing with you the curriculum problem that I identified that affect our N1 to N3 Report 191 engineering students who graduate from our college. De Blanche and Blitzer in the 2018 work suggested curricula need to be restructured so that there can be more innovative responses to industry requirements. The N1 to N3 programs are such programs that need to be restructured. These programs are called legacy programs because it's programs of an old dispensation that were intended for apprentices who were contracted to an employer or workplace where they got practical exposure. These programs have been in existence for a long time, and the same program in the current format doesn't have a practical component, neither is it linked to an apprenticeship. So this means that an N3 student can graduate without any practical exposure to their trade. It poses a huge problem because prospective employers aren't keen to employ graduates who don't have practical exposure. Also, an N2 student can do a trade test and become an artisan after working for 24 months, but he or she won't be able to become an artisan if they don't gain the necessary experience. And if one considers that an average of 600 students graduate from our college every year, it gives one an indication of just how big this problem is. So how old the curricula and does it feed into the industry? So as part of my research, I looked at syllabi from subjects in the motors and electrical programs, and these syllabi dated back to 1984, 1996, and even some 1981. The DHET has started to review programs for a few of these subjects, and the lecturers whom I interviewed said that 20 to 30% of this content have been undated, updated, the rest of it has remained the same. So we now ask them whether these curricula, the parts that were not updated, whether they are still relevant and whether it feeds into industry. They said yes, and the reason why they said that was because old content teaches the student the fundamentals and principles of the various disciplines which have not changed or are not likely to change. Lecture training and skills for at our college, many of our lecturers who teach in these programs have an N3 plus a trade test, which means that they're qualified artisans. It also means that they can teach the practical component if required. The college has recently started recruiting graduates in mechanical, civil and electrical engineering with postgrad diplomas in education. There was also a huge drive for the college to get most of the lecturers that don't have a teaching qualifications qualified. This means that there aren't many lecturers at our colleges who do not have a teaching qualification. And stakeholder consultation. Lecturers have been consulted as can be gauged by the feedback that I've already given, and in addition to that feedback, they also indicated that regular and meaningful workplace-based exposure would enable them to keep abreast with developments in their trade and also to remain current. Students felt that the 10 weeks given to complete a level, it was just not enough, and the pace of the program was fast and the program needed a practical component. Industry partners felt that the curricular updates were really too slow to keep up with the developments that were taking place in industry, and also that graduates were not coming to them work ready. The work ready, they didn't have the necessary work readiness skills, so they didn't attach value to things like punctuality, teamwork, clear communication, and other soft skills. So articulation of these problems, into which other areas do they articulate into? Where there are problems, outdated curriculum mean that graduates are inadequately prepared for the workplace, where there have been rapid advancements to do things quick and more efficiently. Also, prospective employers are not keen to employ graduates who have no practical experience. Our college is in fact training for unemployment. I mentioned before that an N student can apply to do a trade test to become an artisan after 24 months practical experience. However, if that student can't find employment in their field, they can't get the requisite experience, which means they won't be able to do the trade test and become an artisan. The National Development Plan articulates the intention for us to produce 30,000 artisans by the every year by the year 2030, and at the rate we are going, we are not going to be reaching that goal. So what are the reasons why this problem exists, and where does it exist? It exists because there's no policy that indicates or compels the review and update of curricula after a set period. The DHET is the sole custodian of curricula, and they decide when curricula will be reviewed and updated. TVET colleges lack autonomy to review and update curricula. The curricular processes to update curricula are slow, and they are protracted. If the curricula had been timelessly updated and stakeholders consulted, the necessary practical component would have been included in the NATED program. So where does it exist? As mentioned, it exists. The problem exists in N1 to N3 engineering programs where the curricula are outdated and there isn't a compulsory practical component. And even though there's been slow revision of the curricula for business studies and utilities in NATED programs, many of the subjects still remain largely outdated. The NCV program is a program that was implemented in 2007 and was written before that. Since 2007, many things have changed, and there have been advancement in technology, which means that even this curricula are in need of an update. So who are who's affected by these issues? Students who graduate struggle to find employment because they are not appropriately skilled. Lecturers are affected because they are teaching to an outdated curriculum. The college as an institution is affected because industry would be reluctant to partner with a training institution that teaches content that is not current and relevant. Industry is affected because there isn't a strong pipeline of artisans to take up jobs, especially in areas where there are skills shortages. The economy is affected because we are not able to respond to industry needs. Unemployment has a ripple effect on society in that it exacerbates existing social ills. What are the solutions to these problems? Collaboration bodies comprising of industry partners and TVET colleges and other stakeholders must be established to inform curricular updates and what it must comprise. TVET colleges must be given the autonomy to review and update curricula when the need arises. Revised curricula must be submitted to the QCTO or Umalusi before it can be implemented, and a policy must be created which stipulates the time period and intervals at which curricula must be reviewed and uploaded. Replacement programs which adopt the dual vocational approach, which will ensure the necessary practical experience for students, must be implemented and replace the current programs. That will also be a solution to the lag in curricular updates, because if there isn't fast enough curricular update, the student will be able to fill that gaps in the workplace. So what are the best solutions? I've selected two, and the first solution is that through our linkages and partnership department, we must initiate the establishment of a collaboration body, as I mentioned before, comprising of representatives from the college, industry partners, other TVET colleges in the region, and other stakeholders. And then the second one would be the college must implement replacement programs which adopt the dual vocational education approach, because this will ensure that students get the necessary practical and workplace exposure. It also means if there is a lag in the curricular updates, that the student will get the requisite experience within the workplace. Our work integrated department will have to strengthen our partnerships with host employers. And then lastly, in conclusion, outdated curricula and a lack of a practical component in programs which are intended to be a pathway to become an artisan, particularly in the TVET sector, because of its primary mandate to feed mid-level skills into industry and therefore the economy, have a negative impact on a host of areas that affect life and livelihood. It's therefore imperative for processes to be put in place to remedy these problems that I've mentioned. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and here I've got references that I consulted for my presentation.